Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back.
What's up, y'all? What's going on and going on?
Man,
2024.
man, we here. We made it, man. We made it to 2024. Podcast still intact. I love it. I love it.
Heck yeah. No, most definitely. Most definitely. Yo, it's a good year so far too. So I can't be mad at that.
It's a great year. It's a great year. It's a great year because this is our first episode of 2024. And
Yeah.
the topic of today's conversation, we're talking about FOBO. And And for those of you that don't know what FOBO is, it's fear of better options. And we're going to more in depth in that in today's conversation. But the reason why we wanted to bring this to y'all's attention, whether you're a trusted adult, whether you're a student who listens to the podcast and loves the podcast, we appreciate you. First of all, shout out to y'all for tapping into up to it and
Yeah.
showing us some love because we know you can have a lot of options, but you choose us. But the reason why we're having this conversation today is because I've been in a lot of Facebook groups lately. And one of
Right.
the biggest things that keeps popping up, and especially not just in Facebook groups, but in talking with trusted adults or parents or foster parents or whatever the case may be, just parents in general and guardians, is that my student is lacking motivation. What do I do, Z? What can I do? Why are they doing it? They're only 12. Like, how could they be lacking so much motivation at 12 years old? And you
Yes.
know, when we talk about this topic, FOBO, so to speak, that's what it is, man. It's the fear of better option.
Exactly. It's fear of better options. I mean, a lot of times we don't think about um, you know, what we're possibly missing out on when we um are scared to move forward. So it's really about like, yeah, just taking a look at just seeing where you're at, what might be out there, and taking that plunge. So a lot of times it's taking a look at that and seeing, is that a better option, is it not? I mean, an example for me, just to kind of set a context, is um I remember I was working at my job I've been there for a minute, like, and it was awesome. I mean, no complaints whatsoever, but the problem was I feel that I got a little complacent. um, Things were going so well. It was running smoothly. I was growing a team and I was growing also. But it was funny because my teammates would always be like, "Yeah, Jamal, you always say that." Because in our team meetings, at least once a year for like the last 5 years that I was there, I'd be like, you know what? I may not be around too much longer. 'Cause I got to go do something else. And I just kept saying that. And the thing was, is that I was kind of fearful of the better option to do something differently. And so they used to laugh at me every year and be like, "Yeah, Jamal, you say that every year, man. You say that every year." And then finally, a time came where I ended up jumping out and creating my own nonprofit organization. And I wish I had started it earlier or done it earlier, so I could probably have gone through, some more trials and tribulations a little bit earlier. But then again, some people may say that things happen in a time frame that it's supposed to happen. But it's true. But I just feel that had I not been fearful about taking that step, that I'd probably be in a different place than I am now. Which is, I'm in a great place now, but um I think again, just the fear of maybe it having been a better option for myself. And that's one of the things I think you don't want to do, is look at missed opportunity, or and look back and be like, dang man, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. And so that's kind of what we're talking about, a little bit of not being willing to overcome that fear and take a look at that option that might be out there, and it may be better. And so that's what we really want to share with the people that are listening. And sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes you just got to do it. You know what I mean?
100%. I think I love what you said about even your experience of, dang, I don't know if I want to bounce. I'm in. You said the word complacent, and that's been a big word for me lately. Am I content, or am I being complacent, or am I in a place of complacency? And I think that's a whole nother topic for another time. But I love that you brought that up because it's like a full circle moment for myself. I hope for the listeners as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, really, when you think about you know, fear of better options, like Zion said, it's a little similar to fear of missing out and or fear of moving on. But a lot of times it's like taking a look at that there are sometimes some better options, and that you don't have to necessarily stay stuck where you're at. It's really interesting because I was thinking about listening to I forget who I was listening to, but they were talking about like um how like sometimes you got to change your circumstances or your situation in order to grow. And so a lot of times when people say that they're stuck in a city, you're not stuck in a city. You're not stuck in that necessarily that location. That's a choice that you're choosing to make. Um and you can relocate. You literally can relocate. And you could think of all the reasons and whys of why you can't do it, as opposed to taking the time to think about why you can do it or
Mm,
how you can do it. It's very possible within these great United States to move to a different location, if it's a place where you don't want to be, just like with the job.
mm,
Also, even with school, a lot of times I've seen parents see their children or child struggling in a certain school system. But you know what? There are so many different options nowadays that maybe everybody's not good at getting up at school starting at 7:45 in the morning. But there's so many different options out there where like there's schools that don't start at 7:45 in the morning. They have more midday classes or evening classes, or even when you're taking a look at um, being online nowadays. I mean, that the pandemic catapulted us to us being online and stuff like that. And so that option was always there. But so again, fear of better options is that is that option gonna really help me? And actually it may.
mm.
And just going ahead and jumping in that. So I think parents, you should take the opportunity to have a conversation with your young one, and find out what it is that they want to do or don't want to do. And but yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, no. I was just thinking about, what is causing this stuff for youth? I mean, right now, why are youth so not motivated, and what is, happening? What is causing our youth to be maybe complacent or fearful of making better decisions, or that fear of a better option, right? And I think for me, what I've been noticing and looking at and researching is just decision fatigue, man. Decision fatigue. That's another like kind of coin word that people hear, or like a trendy word is decision fatigue. And youth are exposed to so many things at so many times. It's crazy, right? You think about the iPads that these students have. You think about their phones that they have. They're seeing everything constantly. They're getting a lot of information, and a lot of information coming in from a underdeveloped mind, so to speak, right now. Their brain is still developing, so they're getting a lot of information, but not enough clear guidance on how do I continue moving forward. And then another trendy word right now is doom scrolling, right?
Hmm.
Doom scrolling, where students are seeing, like I said, they have access to everything. So in the world, they get world news, politics, climate change information, new diseases, death tolls, wars. Like, they're getting exposed to a lot of these things. And for some of our students right now, and for some of the youth, they're like, why does getting an A in math even matter for me right now in 2024 when the world is ending for me? Or why does it even matter if I choose to, go to prom or not go to prom? Because it can be taken away from me at any point. So it doesn't really matter. Right. And so some of these youth are getting to that train of thought of
Hmm.
this is all for nothing. Right. This is all for nothing. So what does it matter if I make this decision today or not? Right.
Right, right. Yeah.
And I think that's really concerning. So when we talk about those things, and that what we try to do as trusted adults, me and you, Dad, is try to instill that inspiration and hope, right?
Yes.
That because those youth have to understand that it could be up to you, right? It could be up to you, could be the missing part that we need in this world so it can get better. Whether it's coming up with the next new vaccine for another disease, whether it's fighting climate change, whether it's whatever it may be, you are an intricate part and you gotta find that purpose, right? So how do you think adults can help them, students that are struggling with FOBO?
I think it's about sitting down and talking, like I said, a bit earlier with your young person and finding out where their head is. I think one of the things that we don't do enough of, and you've heard this on the podcast, but before, those of you that have listened, is that we as adults spend a lot of times talking at our young people and not with them. And I think, especially if you having this conversation or want to have these conversations with your young person, definitely around middle school and up is when I say that you should really be thinking about talking with your young person and finding out where they're at and what's going on for them and how are they feeling and what are they thinking and how are they thinking, and not just always dictating to them how they should do everything, but trying to navigate and walk with them um, in their decision making, and understanding the reason why they're making certain decisions. And so it's really, in my opinion, sitting down and talking with a person, with your young person, even if it's your nephew or your niece. If you're going to be that trusted adult in that person's life, is trying to hear where they're coming from, and then motivate them by encouraging them and letting them know that it's going to be okay, letting them know that you're going to be there for when they do fall, and that you're going to help them get back up, and that we have to, uh, if they choose to move forward and you may not agree, then you still need to let them have that failure, and
And
let
that's
them.
sorry. Is that hard, that as a parent to do
Oh,
that?
oh yeah. It's hard to, yeah, definitely. It's definitely hard to watch somebody that that's you care about, you want the best for them, but that's where the learning comes from. You know, it's just like, if you never let your baby fall down, how are they ever going to learn how to walk? If you're like, you know what, I'm
Mhm.
going to buy this contraption where you can just always, you know, be walking, and not necessarily fall down. But from the falling down is how that young person then begins to understand that, okay, I gotta shift my balance this way. When they're a little baby and they got diaper full of pee and poop, they're trying to figure out their balancing, right? They're trying to figure out how to hold their head. Um, but if they didn't have that failure, they wouldn't succeed at all,
Mm.
right? And so I think that's, as a trusted adult, it's about listening to a young person, talking with them, supporting them, and encouraging them. And I think that they'll be more willing to take that leap
Mm.
of
Mhm.
faith, and maybe looking at that option that maybe they didn't think was there.
Yeah, and I think the other important, I love how you mentioned like you have to let them fail, right? And I think now I laugh about it being older. I'm like, Dad, Mom, you knew what was gonna happen and you still let me do it. They're like, "What? Yeah, because you were stubborn and you didn't want to
Mhm.
listen. So
Exactly.
we had to let you have that experience." And we laugh about it now. I'm like, "Oh man, you should have just really stopped me." He's like, "But how would you learn?" So I really do appreciate that, and that's a great skill because sometimes our youth are not going to listen the first time, and sometimes our youth aren't going to listen to you as a parent, right? And we talked about this on the previous episodes. If you've been following us, that maybe you are not that one person for that youth for that topic, right? For
That's
whatever
true.
that youth is going through, maybe they don't feel comfortable coming to you. So that's why we try to empower trusted adults, and we don't just say parents, right? Because we always, you always hear the saying, it takes a village, right? And it takes a village of trusted adults to help raise just our youth, right? Whether that's a teacher, whether that's a mentor, whether that's another
Coach.
family
Yeah.
member, right? Like coaches, all these people are there to help and support. So we're trying to empower adults to be trusted adults, and that's why it's so important. When we talk about how adults can help you. Trusted adults can help a student. But if you are a student listening, you have the power. It's up to you, right? Like you have the power to
So
make
true.
a decision. And you should be comfortable knowing that whatever decision that you make, it's okay. You're gonna learn from those mistakes. You're gonna learn. You're gonna fall. You're gonna do these things. And like my dad says, man, fall forward, fail forward, right? Fail forward. Do something positive. As long as you're doing something positive and trying to make a positive change, and you fail, get back up because you learned something from it, right?
Exactly.
And trust your instincts, trust your skills that you've developed, and trust yourself. And I think that's a hard skill to learn as you're developing. Is how do I trust myself when we're in a day and age of external validation, right? We're in a day and age of we want participation trophies. We want
Mhm.
everybody to clap for us when we do something. We want the likes, we want the
With the likes.
followers, and
Yes.
we want those things. But what really makes you a solid person, a well-rounded person, is knowing who you are and your abilities. And I love what my mentor Geronda says. If you don't know who you are, you're going to believe what people tell you are, whether that's negative or positive. And sometimes it's mostly the negative things that people point out a lot, right?
Yep.
We don't hear a lot of our trusted adults telling us the positive things that they see in us. And I think that's one thing I'm doing in 2024 is if I notice something positive about somebody, I try to highlight it, even if it's a friend, a family member. Yo, I like that when I talk to you, it feels intimate. I feel like we're the only ones talking to it. I feel like I'm the only one in the room with you. And you would be surprised. Like people are like, oh, I never heard that before. I never heard that compliment.
So
And
true.
it brightens their day up. So I say that all to say it starts with you, young person. It starts with you, and you're gonna have to make those tough decisions. You're gonna have to make a decision, but don't be fearful of it. There's no need to be fearful of it.
So true. So true. Yeah. I mean, that's the only way that you're going to get better is to put one foot in front of the other, step out there, give it a shot. Um, and don't let it hold you back because you'll look back and regret that you didn't do it. And even though it may seem painful in the moment. I mean, and that's even like with, when you're dating, you
Yes.
know, you don't necessarily got to stay in the situation that you're in if it's not good. You might be fearful that, you know what, I'm not going to find anybody better, or this isn't going to work out, but that you shouldn't be in that situation or that relationship that you're in. So you're
Definitely.
fearful of the taking that better option because it will be better. It will definitely be better. And so you got to think about those type of things when um think about it like, why am I being fearful? And it's because, again, like we said earlier, it's about being complacent, or you don't want to deal with the change, but the change is what's going to make you better in the long run. So that's something just to consider while y'all are out there mulling around, like scrolling and whatnot, something to be contemplating as you move on, not having that fear of better options. Don't have FOBO.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Keep growing. Keep making those healthy decisions that propel you forward, man. And that's what it's all about here. Up to it is making sure these families that we are talking with keep growing and having these tough conversations for stronger connections. And the last thing I want to leave you with is for the students is like my dad references dating because I love this analogy and you can probably bring it to life for you. Is the first person you meet probably isn't going to be the one, right? And when we talk about finding a trusted adult, you're going to have to reach out to that person. You're going to have to be vulnerable. And sometimes that first person we reach out to as a trusted adult might not have the answers, might not be a really good person to talk to. Maybe they blow you off. Maybe they don't listen. But there's somebody out there that wants to help you. There's somebody out there. And so don't give up after you reach out to one and they blew you off and you're like, all these adults suck in my life. I can't even talk to this one. But there's like 7, 10 more people, 100 more people out here that want to help you. You just got to keep reaching out. Like I said, kind of like referencing dating. It's like you got to keep finding that person. You find the things that you kind of don't like in that one person and you're like, okay, I don't want that in my next relationship. So don't keep going back to the same person that have the same traits as that person and being like, well, all these people are the same because you keep going back to the same characteristics of the person that you knew you didn't want, right? So keep
Exactly.
reaching out, Don't give up. There's somebody out here that wants to help you. Heck, you can start with us. You can reach out to us on our Instagram. You can reach out to us on our website and be like, hey, this is what I'm going through. Do you have any just background knowledge, any words of wisdom, words of encouragement? And me and Dad will be happy to provide that for you, especially the
Yes,
trusted
sir.
adults in the world too. If you're like, man, I don't know how to have these conversations, these tough conversations for stronger connections, I'm gonna reach out. Just send us an email, man. We'll respond with the swiftness. We're just super excited just to help you guys out. We also do a presentation on this topic specifically. Me and my dad do it together. We call it Tough Conversations for Stronger Connections, where we'll go out to wherever you're at, whether you're in Kansas, whether you're in Canada. We don't care where you're at. We're more than
Australia,
happy.
we'll go.
Yeah, we'll go. We'll go. We'll
Dubai.
be there, right? Let us know whether it's a corporate setting, whether it's a school. We want to make sure that we're empowering our trusted adults in our communities to help because we're always putting it on our youth and we're putting it on teachers, but it's also the jobs of community members to be in line with this. So that's what I'm going to offer for you guys. You can check us out on our website at uptoit.club. You can go to the Up to It presentation tab, and there's a whole little contact sheet. You can look at the menu that we offer, teen mental health and healthy relationship with Zion and Jamal, and tell us what you're looking for, and we'll be glad to work with you. We'll be happy to work with you.
Definitely. So thank you all very much. And hey, we're going to get up out of here. And that's how we do.
Yeah, we out of here. Peace.
Peace.